Don Juan bade his valet pack his things according to direction, then received a lecture and some money. For 4 springs he was to travel, and though Inez grieved, as every kind of parting has its stings, she hoped he would improve, perhaps believed. A letter, too, she gave, he never read it, of good advice, and 2 or 3 of credit. In the meantime, to pass her hours away, brave Inez now set up a Sunday school for naughty children, who would rather play, like truant rogues, the devil or the fool. Infants of 3 years old were taught that day. Dunces were whipped or set upon a stool. The great success of Juan's education spurred her to teach another generation. Juan embarked. The ship got under way. The wind was fair, the water passing rough. A devil of a sea rolls in that bay, as I, who've crossed it oft, know well enough. And standing upon deck, the dashing spray flies in one's face and makes it weather tough. And there he stood to take and take again his first, perhaps his last, farewell of Spain. I can't but say it is an awkward sight to see one's native land receding through the growing waters. It unmans one quite, especially when life is rather new. I recollect Great Britain's coast looks white, but almost every other country's blue when gazing on them, mystified by distance, we enter on our nautical existence. So Juan stood, bewildered, on the deck. The wind sung, cordage strained, and sailors swore, and the ship creaked. The town became a speck, from which away so fair and fast they bore. The best of remedies is a beefsteak against sea-sickness. Try it, sir, before you sneer, and I assure you this is true, for I have found it answer. So may you. Don Juan stood, and gazing from the stern, beheld his native Spain receding far. First partings form a lesson hard to learn. Even nations feel this when they go to war. There is a sort of unexpressed concern, a kind of shock that sets one's heart ajar at leaving even the most unpleasant people and places. One keeps looking at the steeple. But Juan had got many things to leave. His mother and a mistress and no wife, so that he had much better cause to grieve than many persons more advanced in life. And if we now and then a sigh must heave at quitting even those we quit in strife, no doubt we weep for those the heart endears, that is, till deeper griefs congeal our tears. So Juan wept, as wept the captive Jews by Babel's waters, still remembering Sion. I'd weep, but mine is not a weeping muse, and such light griefs are not a thing to die on. Young men should travel, if but to amuse themselves, and the next time their servants tie on behind their carriages their new portmanteau, perhaps it may be lined with this my canto. And Juan wept, and much he sighed and thought, while his salt tears dropped into the salt sea. Sweets to the sweet. I like so much to quote, you must excuse this extract. 'Tis where she, the Queen of Denmark, for Ophelia brought flowers to the grave. And sobbing often, he reflected on his present situation, and seriously resolved on reformation. Farewell, my Spain, a long farewell, he cried. Perhaps I may revisit thee no more, but die as many an exiled heart hath died, of its own thirst to see again thy shore. Farewell, where Guadalquivir's waters glide. Farewell, my mother, and since all is o'er, farewell to dearest Julia. Here he drew her letter out again, and read it through. And oh, if ever I should forget, I swear, but that's impossible, and cannot be. Sooner shall this blue ocean melt to air, sooner shall earth resolve itself to sea, Then I resign thine image, O my fair, or think of anything excepting thee. A mind diseased no remedy can physic. Here the ship gave a lurch, and he grew seasick. Sooner shall heaven kiss earth. Here he felt sicker. Oh, Julia, what is every other woe? For God's sake, let me have a glass of liquor. Pedro, Batista, help me down below. Julia, my love, you rascal Pedro, quicker. Oh, Julia, this cursed vessel pitches show. Beloved Julia, hear me still beseeching. Here he grew inarticulate with retching. He felt that chilling heaviness of heart, or rather stomach, which, alas, attends beyond the best apothecary's art. The loss of love, the treachery of friends, or death of those we dote on when a part of us dies with them, as each fond hope ends. No doubt he would have been much more pathetic, but the sea acted as a strong emetic. Love's a capricious power. I've known it hold out through a fever caused by its own heat, but be much puzzled by a cough and cold, and find a quinsy very hard to treat. Against all noble maladies he's bold, but vulgar illnesses don't like to meet, nor that a sneeze should interrupt his sigh, nor inflammations redden his blind eye. But worst of all is nausea, or a pain about the lower region of the bowels. Love, who heroically breathes the vein, shrinks from the application of hot towels, and purgatives are dangerous to his reign. See sickness, death. His love was perfect. How else could Juan's passion, while the billows roar, resist his stomach, ne'er at sea before?